Hello everyone. There's an unmistakable spring in the step of India's real estate industry, and this doesn't seem to be a one-off trend. In many ways, 2023 was a banner year for India's real estate industry. Residential real estate sales reached a new high, the highest since 2013, growing 33% year on year, according to a latest report of PropTiger.com, India's leading online real estate brokerage company. According to the report, Real Insight Residential Annual Roundup 2023, both sales and new launches recorded double-digit growth. In fact, new launches reached a new high, an all-time high, with a sustained high velocity momentum that is being carried through. There are reasons why people are buying houses. One of the primary reasons for anyone buys a house are income levels. But it's not as much about current income. It is about what people think about their future income is likely to be. The reason is a vast majority of houses are bought on loans. So if you think or if you feel confident that you'll be able to pay off a home loan over a 10 to 15 year period, you are more likely to buy a house now. That seems to be playing out. Second, there seems to be growing expectation that interest rates will start easing sooner rather than later. The consumer price index-based inflation was at 5.09% in February from 5.1% in January. So it's easing. This sequential easing of the inflation curve could prompt the RBI's Monetary Policy Committee to eventually lower interest rates. When the RBI lowers rates, the banks are going to pass on the lower rates to consumers, both corporations and individuals, particularly home loan rates. So when home loan rates come down, that acts as a demand booster. To talk about all of these and much more, for this episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com, I have with me Ankita Sood, Head of Research at Housing.com, PropTiger.com and Makan.com, to tell us the drivers of this demand surge and how these are likely to play out in the coming months. Hello and a warm welcome, Ankita. Always a delight to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me on the show, Gaurav. Lovely conversations we've had. Let's get to it.
Right. So, of course, we're talking about luxury. And we have now seen that this space has really evolved over the last 2-3 years. And there is a transformation that we can notice. Consumers have become more demanding. Preferences have changed. They're demanding space. They're looking for space. Price, of course, is a big consideration here. People are willing to pay more. But in return, they're asking for more. How do you see this playing out and why is this happening?
So, yes, people are asking for more. People want an upgrade, and I would like to establish that it is not only real estate. It is happening across the consumption baskets. So you look at the discretionary spending which is happening on travel, which is happening on fashion, passenger car vehicle sales. They recorded their highest sales, right? So it's not only property market, but it is across the consumption basket. Now, a lot of disposable income. There was a lot of accumulated wealth that happened during the pandemic for certain section of the society. So disposable income also went up. Then discretionary spending first just happened, mostly for travel, right? And only a section was investing in property market.
Right.
But post the pandemic, a need was established for not only having larger space for a functional purpose, but also, as seen as a lifestyle upgrade.
Right, absolutely.
So not only the demand, but then the supply has also gotten into the same sphere.
Absolutely. And it's not just limited only to the real estate space.
Absolutely.
This is something that we see across, as you mentioned, the lifestyle segment. People are also looking for an upgrade. But, as I said, people are also become more demanding. And if I may use that phrase, they're looking for larger than life spaces. 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom is getting increasingly more normalized.
Right.
How do you think this is going to influence the market, both from a price point of view and also from a demand and supply point of view?
So, if I talk about the supply numbers, so the supply has significantly gone up post 2019. If I look at the category from 1 crore and above, right, that increased the sale has gone up to 29%, the share.
Right.
Out of the 12% that was happening in 2019. And obviously, because the demand is there in that space, the supply is following suit as well. So we've seen that 38% of the new launches, the new supply that's entering the market, happened in the 1 crore and above price bracket.
Right.
So you see that both demand and supply right now are moving in tandem.
Right. And as we see from your own insights, particularly the IRIS index that Housing.com brings out, that this trend is not just limited to the big cities. It's also getting reflected in what's happening in the tier 2 cities or the relatively smaller cities like Jaipur, Indore and Lucknow particularly. And we see that consumers there are also getting more and more demanding in terms of preferences. They're looking for gated communities. You see gated communities and apartments within gated communities actually catering to that demand. How do you see this playing out, particularly in the context of the tier 2 markets?
So tier 2 markets, as you rightly said, Jaipur, Visakhapatnam, Lucknow. So, through the whole year, we actually ran very interesting surveys in all of these cities. We tried to understand the consumer preferences and why they are looking, to upgrade. Very interestingly, Gaurav, so during the pandemic, all of us have roots in tier 2 cities. We all went back.
Right.
Now, we all had exposure to, various lifestyles, let's say real estate being one, but across. So we went home and we demanded the same things back at home as well, right? So e-commerce, orders, Amazon, your fashion, etc. all saw a significant rise in their bucket, the consumption basket that was coming from the tier 2 cities.
Right.
And similarly, on the real estate side of it, you were looking at the quality, the amenities. So let's say somebody is going back to Jaipur or somebody is going back to Visakhapatnam who's working in Hyderabad.
Right.
Now this person unhappened and the supply
has created its own set of supplies.
Absolutely.
Right. And now what we see is that there is a back to work trend, and it's almost all offices are back to work. So the activity in the commercial towers, places in Gurgaon and any other city, is a clear reflection that people are coming back to work. It's also a sign of good economic activity, probably.
Right.
There's a rebound in the broader economy. All that is fine, but what it has done is also that it has moved up the rental market quite a bit. So rents are going up because people are moving back to closer to offices. And this can be seen particularly in Gurgaon and places like Gurgaon and Bengaluru and Pune. How do you see this playing out? Do you think the rental yields are going to get even more pronounced and get higher and higher in 2024?
So, of course, people went back from the tier 2, they were called back, and hardly any organizations have the complete work from home. Either it's hybrid, so you prefer to stay in the city where your HO is, your headquarter is, right? Yes, demand for homes have gone up. So it is a function of rents, is a function of the capital values moving up, and they are moving up because of more demand. Right? Now that demand is being generated only for ready homes. And currently, Gaurav, only 20 to 21% of all the stock that is under different stages of construction of the unsold inventory that we have is ready. So now you see takers are 2. Somebody jiska ghar ban raha hai will get delivered in another 2 years. And this particular home is also in the market for somebody who wants to rent.
Correct.
So there is a demand pressure on the ready to move in inventory right now that has pulled up the rents and given that spike of 50 to 60%.
So how is it playing out particularly in the luxury rental market among properties that are considered to be premium, particularly in the rental space?
So that only Goa, if we speak about Goa, right, and all some of the hill stations, but predominantly Goa. We did see that there was a significant uptick in their rental yields only and only because these cities being tourist destinations, and that too predominantly Goa only.
Right.
So we saw an uptick in the rental yields of up to 5 to 8% in certain societies. Of course, it will definitely depend upon product differentiation. You can't have a blanket.
But what about rental yields this year? Because people are coming back closer. What about Gurugram, for instance? Just as a case, illustrative case, people coming back to offices in Gurugram, and this is the hub of top economic activity in the NCR region. Do you see rentals going up in the luxury premium space in Gurugram?
See, rentals definitely in the next 1 year, I would not say that they will continue to go up, but rentals will continue to stay firm till the time there is no supply of the ready unit.
Right.
More and more supply will come in the market, and the rentals will balance out. And what we see as per our database, that most of the projects are slated for completion. A project ki around 2.5 to 3 years life cycle is there, right? So it will by the end of 27, you'll see some amount of ready inventory. Given that projects are on track, they will enter the market.
Right.
It will create some form of equilibrium, right?
So there could be some correction that we can expect.
Yes, it would not have the same amount of pressure.
Right.
Because ready inventory will come into the market.
Absolutely.
Having said that, Gaurav, jobs are getting created.
Right.
Right.
So the demand will probably also keep pace with the new inventory.
Keep pace. So you see across Gurgaon, the leasing activity has been robust. Bangalore, the leasing activity has been robust. So it's not that there'll be a vacuum. People will constantly keep coming to work. But yes, we need more supply for the demand to have some balance.
And finally, Ankita, it's also about investment. And real estate continues to remain a very attractive asset class. Given the robustness and the bullishness that we see and very promising prospects, what is the trend that you are catching from an investment point of view? What is the advice, if I may say so, that you would give to investors who are willing to look at real estate as an asset class? Do you see a lot of appreciation? Because if you take price as a marker for the value of that asset class, which is real estate in this case, do you think this is going up? So this could actually turn out to be a good investment asset class. What are the trends, emerging trends that you are spotting?
So, Gaurav, real estate has always been the most preferred asset class, especially for we Indians. That there needs to be one house that has always been there. But the dominance was not much. But let's say post-19, there has been an uptick. Prices have been firming up. Now that has actually got investors back into the market because they are looking at returns, right? And which they very much made as well. If you invested somewhere in 21 and you're in 23, that was the right time to invest. Let's say short term, but you can't time the market. So right now, yes, it has always been. Real estate is the most preferred asset class for investment. You do make returns, but you need to have a medium to long term horizon window.
Right.
This quick short term return that we saw, let's say from 21 to 23, these cycles cannot be replicated.
Absolutely.
So need to have a 7 to 10 year holding capacity, long term window horizon. Because now people are looking at real estate for a long-term wealth building too.
Absolutely.
So have a long-term horizon and definitely, it's going to pay off.
Absolutely. So the opportunities are there if you're willing to hold it for the medium to long term. I think that's where investors can actually capitalize on. Thank you so much, Ankita, for sharing your deep insights and perspective. Always a delight to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me on the show, Gaurav. Thank you.
That's it from us for this episode. We'll be back again with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com with information and insight of the real estate industry. Whether you are a pro or a beginner, we'll keep you informed and entertained about the world of real estate in India. This is Keeping It Real by Housing.com, where we keep it real always. You can catch the episode on Spotify.com, on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, on Housing.com, on the Housing.com app, on JioSaavn, on Ghana, and of course, on YouTube. Take care and stay safe.